Yo, what is good, yo? It's your boy Top back here with another video. In this video today, we are going to rank me and Nate and I are going to be ranking the top shooting guards in the NBA, not in 2K, in the actual National Basketball Association. So I'm here with Nate. Nate knows a little bit more than me. Nate, what's up?
What's up? One thing you said the top, but these are not. These are just starting shooting guards, not necessarily the top ones. But yeah, doing good today.
I mean, I'm used to saying that from other videos, but guys, I know you guys, hated on my Kemba Walker opinion. Okay, I understand I was wrong about Kemba, and I'll probably be wrong about a shooting guard here, and that's okay, It's okay. I don't watch, I watch a lot of basketball, but the Celtics games I've watched this year, I haven't watched a ton, to be honest with you. So, some shooting guards, obviously, Nate and I probably won't share the opinion, but that's why both of us are here. So, without further ado, let's hop right into the video. All right, starting out here with the first shooting guard, we got Bogdan Bogdanovic. Is that right, Nate? Did I pronounce that close?
Good enough. Good enough. I mean, at least you said Bogdan and not Bojan, the Utah, the guy for the Jazz.
I've watched the Kings a little bit this year, and he's a serviceable shooting guard, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, he's serviceable. Came off the bench early, and then
I mean,
placed Buddy Hield in the starting line. I mean, Sacramento's just been a mess, but yeah, he's serviceable. He's a good scorer. He's a decent scorer. I mean, I don't really know if he offers much else out of that, but he's not bad.
He's not bad by any means, but the Kings just aren't good, and he's like you said, he's a good scorer, but I don't think I can go any higher than C. Where do you have him?
I have him in C2. I think C's perfect, and like I said, like earlier, once we get these other guys kind of flowing in, we can always adjust.
Definitely. So next guy on our list is Bradley Beal. For me, yep. I don't have any question.
Me either. Where do you have him?
S.
I have him S too. I think he's elite. I mean, shooting guard's kind of weird because it's one of the weaker positions in the NBA. I mean, just when you kind of look down, as far as star-studded, and even though Beal's on an awful team, I mean.
And that's the thing. The Wizards are so bad that it's tough. He gets a lot of unnecessary. I don't want to say hate, but I feel like he's overlooked because the Wizards are super, super bad. So.
Right. There's people that don't like Bradley Beal, and there's people that love him. And I mean, I think he probably falls somewhere in the middle, but I think he's still S tier. And he's honestly, I mean, if we're being honest, with all the injuries they've had this year, and I mean, just the roster in general, he's probably got the worst supporting cast in the NBA.
Who is this guy? Is this Bruce Brown?
Yeah, this is Bruce Brown.
Good Lord.
Bruce Brown. It is weird because the Pistons starting lineups have been all over the place, so I didn't even know who we'd see on this list.
Bruce Brown, I mean, good Lord. Fantasy-wise, he did some things for a little while, but
he's like the Walmart poor man's Lonzo Ball. He does do a little bit of everything, but he's not good.
He's not good. He's F for me.
He's F. I mean, he's still like a decent player, but he's a bench piece. He's not a starter.
Definitely.
That's for sure.
Now, Bryn Forbes is another interesting one. The thing about Bryn Forbes for me is like we talked about in the point guard video. The Spurs just have so many different guys.
No, you're exactly right. And Forbes, it's like we were talking about Murray. Same thing goes for Forbes. He can play 35 minutes and then he can play 15 on the next night. So. I'm honestly not really familiar with how Forbes has been doing this season, to be quite honest. The Spurs are I feel like the Spurs are one of those teams this year, like even when they're decent, like last year they were decent, but I feel like no one they're just like a team that no one watches.
I mean, they're not exciting. Look at their roster; it's not exciting at all. Even when the Timberwolves play the Spurs, they don't play any sort of exciting basketball. I don't know. I have Bryn Forbes in D, just from kind of my perception of Bryn Forbes and kind of when I have watched him, how he is. I mean, he could be higher, lower. I don't know. What do you looking at the stats right now, Nate?
Yeah, I pulled up his stats. He doesn't give you much. I mean, he gives you 11.2 points, 2 rebounds, 1.7 assists. He's only playing 25 minutes a night, so about half the game. But he is shooting 39% from 3.
And that's what I was going to ask.
I mean, I think if you're shooting, if you're able to knock down shots at a high level in the NBA, I think you're at least a D. I think he's probably a step above Bruce Brown.
I agree.
This next guy I feel is very, very interesting.
He is tough to rate.
He is very, very. I mean, we have a limited sample size of what he's given us this season. He's not been very, very efficient this season. He's never been efficient, but he's kind of like. I don't know, man. I'm not the highest on him, to be quite honest.
Where do you
I
have
used
him?
to be higher on him, but I'm not. I have him in C. He's just,
See,
in my
I
opinion,
right now I'm hovering over B just because the small sample size. But go ahead.
I'll be able to convince you otherwise. You ready? You ready?
Yeah.
His effective field goal percentage over the last 2 years has been below 48%, and he
Ooh.
gives you nothing else outside of his ability to score. He does give you a little bit of defense. I think he's a decent defender, but
48% effective field goal percentage.
yeah,
Oof.
yep,
Oof. Oof. That's bad. It's
yeah.
very bad.
I mean, it's not awful, but it's bad.
Hmm.
There's guys with worse ones.
Now,
but
now,
I mean, yeah, I just
now, heading in for this next guy, Nate, I want you to look at our list. Okay, these are the shooting guards we're working with. So, just know going into our next guy what we got coming up. Okay, like the
Okay.
shooting guard, like you said, the shooting guard position isn't strong. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not strong at all. And
I mean, it's like when you look at a lot of these guys, are volume scorers, which is kind of what a shooting guard really is, anyway.
mhm.
But I think this next guy's pretty clear cut for me in terms of what he's done this season.
I don't know, man. He's not. I don't know. I'm gonna put him here, and I'll explain why. Where do you have him?
I have him in A.
Okay, I have him in B, and I'll explain why. Right?
All right, and then I'll go ahead and prove you wrong. But
All right.
go ahead.
Do you have his stats up right now?
Yeah,
How many games has he played?
62.
This season, he's played in 62 games.
Yeah,
Okay, how many of those games did Dame Lillard play in?
I don't know. I know Lillard's been hurt a little bit. I don't think a whole lot.
Not a whole lot. Let's say he's played 75% of the games. If you have an S tier point guard and an A tier shooting guard, guards dominate this league. Why are you losing so much?
Bro, we've talked about this.
But
We
both of
literally
those
talked
guys
about
have
it
been
last
healthy.
Who? What'd you say?
Both Lillard and McCollum,
They
75% of
been.
times, have
You're
been
right,
healthy.
They have been, but Ty, their supporting cast has still been terrible. And when I mean terrible, I mean they probably have the least amount of depth in the entire NBA.
And I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm just saying they don't play any sort of defense either.
When you got Gary Trent going out and playing 35 minutes, and you got Nazir Little, bro. There was a night that I remember they had 9 active players.
And I understand that, but when you got an S tier point guard who's putting up big number, I guess CJ's putting up number. It's kind of
Look. They don't have the right pieces around them, because here's the thing with Portland right now, they don't have elite perimeter defending, and they really need it. But they
don't
just
have
don't
any
have
defense.
It right now.
Any.
What'd you say?
Do they got Trevor Ariza? I'm not saying he's good, but do they got Trevor Ariza?
I mean, recently, yes.
I'm not making that point. I'm just asking because he's a decent enough defender. Okay.
But he was traded mid-season, so
I guess I'll move him up to A. But my thing is guard play is so important. And you got an S tier point guard, an A tier shooting guard. You should be able to be a playoff team. I mean,
no, definitely, but I mean, yeah.
Like even let's say right. LeBron's on the Blazers and take out CJ McCollum out of the if LeBron's on the Blazers, he's willing that team to the playoffs if he stays healthy. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of where I'm coming from.
LeBron's also in his category of his own. So
you're right. You're right.
And at the like when you look at what CJ's done this year, he's having a career season. He's having one of his best seasons of his career.
It's just he's so bad on the defensive end. It's A is fine. Who is this next guy?
Sexton.
I thought we already did Sexton.
We already did Sexton on point guards, but he fell into shooting guards as well. So
we're gonna just rate Colin Sexton?
Yeah, I'm fine with him in B or C. What do we have him for the point guard? I don't even remember.
I mean, I think we had him somewhere in the middle. I mean, I think C. I don't think I can put him in B. I just simply don't.
Why? Sexton's not that bad.
I mean, what does he do better than LeVert or Bogdanovich?
He scores the ball and he does it at a more effective rate, and he's a better scorer than them both.
Is he a better
he's also
defender?
A worse defender.
Exactly. He's a way worse defender.
I guess C's fine. I'm not gonna be mad about Sexton. I'm not the highest on him.
All right, this next player to me is tough to rate, and here's why I say he's tough to rate, because he's old.
Okay, but it doesn't matter that he's old. He does the same thing.
He plays his role. He's just a
This guy-
completely different shooting guard from from the rest. That's the thing.
Yeah, yeah. No,
No,
you're right. It's kind of like
It's
I don't remember who it was, but you know when you look at guys who play their role compared to a guy who's just like a scorer, you know, and you
Exactly.
can and you have to compare those guys and what they mean to a team. Like a guy like Robert Covington,
exactly.
he'd be higher on my list and a lot of other people's lists, and especially when you compare him to like a pure scorer, it makes it tough.
Exactly. So
But
I right now have Danny Green in C tier. Where do you
yeah,
think?
and I think that's right. I mean, I think that's perfect because he's very, very good at what he does.
He did. Yeah, absolutely.
He shoots at a good clip and he's a good defender, and that's all the Lakers need out of him.
Absolutely.
That's all any teams need him at his whole career. And he's just your average. He's not going to be anything spectacular, so I don't think you can put him above C. But he plays his role very well on the arguably the best team in the NBA.
Absolutely. Next guy, Devin Booker. I don't have any question about this one. I really don't. I got him A tier.
I think that's right.
I mean, I know
think-
some people think Booker's better than Bradley Beal, but I just don't think he is. And the reason I say this is because the Suns have some pieces. The Wizards don't have anything. The Suns have some pieces, but they just can't put it together. And I'm not saying that's solely Devin Booker's fault, but they have some decent pieces.
No, you're right, and I don't. I mean, I'm tempted to put him in S. I really am.
And
Booker's really good, man.
he
He's so good
is,
offensively.
but it's tough because it's like, I mean, it's just.
I'm putting him in S. I don't care. I'm putting him in S. He's an efficient scorer. He's a good passer. He doesn't defend, but I think he's S. And I think if Beal's an S, you put Booker in S because I think they're very similar. I don't think I can definitively say Beal's better than Booker, and I don't think I can definitively say Booker's better than Beal.
I am pretty confident Beal's better than Booker. If you're telling me
Why?
the Timberwolves get one for next season without without
Yeah,
Booker,
yeah.
Cat,
No,
whatever, I'm
would-
taking
no.
Bradley Beal.
I mean, if you're just I don't know, Ty. I don't know. I literally don't know.
I mean,
Tell me-
I've just watched the Wizards this past year, and it's crazy how easily Bradley Beal can go get a bucket. He's getting all the attention on the floor because the Wizards have nobody, and he still drops 50. I mean, it's routinely he can go out. And I'm not saying Devin Booker can't, but Devin Booker has a little more around him, and I just feel like maybe it's just me, but I don't know. I feel like Bradley Beal is just a one step ahead of Devin Booker. That's all it is.
You're right, but there's nights where Beal can be terrible. When I mean
You're right.
terrible, he's terrible. But I mean, at the end of the day, like he has to be a Huck. But Booker's efficient. He's a better passer.
I get what you're saying. Absolutely get what you're saying.
I can't separate him and Beal together.
All
If
right.
we move them both down to A, I'm fine with that.
No, Beal's S. Okay, Beal's S. We might come back to Devin Booker though. Just he's fine at S right now, but Beal's stay at S for sure.
He's so elite offensively, man.
Devontae Graham.
Now we have
we
have Graham.
Lord, bro. Oh,
arguably the most improved player.
he is, but the Hornets are so bad.
They are bad. But he's good.
And Terry, he's okay.
Solid. He's Graham's solid.
He's
Graham's-
okay.
Graham's solid.
He's okay. He's okay. Don't get carried away saying he's solid. He's okay. Where do you
He's
have
okay.
him?
I think he's C still. That's gonna piss a lot of people off.
You think he's gonna?
That's gonna make a lot of people mad. I
You
feel
think
like
he should be higher? Most people think he's gonna be
No,
higher.
I think people will argue that he's higher, but if we have him and
Honestly-
Sexton obviously they're different players, but they're both just
Do you have
offensively
Graham's
oriented
stats
players.
up? Do you have Grant's stats up?
Yeah,
What's his effective?
his effective
It's probably gonna be
is
pretty good because he's a good shooter.
49.5. But you want to know what's weird?
Oh.
No, you want to hear something crazy?
Yeah.
Is his 3-point percentage is only 1 point or lower than his field goal percentage.
Wow. He must be taking some bad twos.
But he
But
does
that's-
average 7.5 assists,
I mean, I guess that's fair
which
enough.
is probably
And he's on the
which is
Hornets.
probably
I
close
mean-
to top 10. It's probably in the top 10.
I
in
mean,
the
C's
NBA.
fine. C's fine. He's been good this year when I've watched. He has. I'm not gonna argue that.
I would almost argue he's B, but
We might move him up because at C tier, I think he's.
he's also fallen up dramatically since the start of the season, and
He
I think
has.
that has to be taken into account.
He has. I don't know what this next guy. I don't know. He's not good, but against the Timberwolves, and when I watch the Grizzlies, at least half the times I've watched them this year, they've been playing the Timberwolves. So maybe they've played the Timberwolves 2 or 3 times. So I've probably watched Dylan Brooks 4 times this year, and 2 of them he's going off.
He's went crazy every single time.
I know he's not that good though, so I'm gonna put him in D.
I think D's right for him because he's still like a solid defender. He's like a poor man's Danny Green though.
Mm-hmm. But he can go get a bucket.
He's not quite as good of a shooter as Danny.
He can get a bucket better than Danny Green.
Yeah, but he's still.
I'm not saying he's better than Danny Green. I'm just saying.
But I'm just saying for a catch and shoot role, if
absolutely.
Take defense out of the equation. If you just want to catch and shoot guy, Danny Green's better than Dylan Brooks.
I agree.
But Brooks creates a little bit better than Danny, so.
Donovan Mitchell.
I know where I want. I know where I have Donovan.
A.
I have him in A, and people will say that he's ass.
I don't think he is. His game is
tough,
weird.
It's tough though because Donovan's made the playoffs so many more times. But
yes, he's a winner. Say what you want about Donovan Mitchell, he's a winner.
Donovan might be ass. He's a lot better defensively too. Here's the thing: we have all these shooting guards, and they're all in a similar tier. Because I feel like Donovan can be kind of grouped into Bradley Beal as well. But I mean, I'm fine. I'm fine in A. I'm fine in A. I'm fine in A. I think he's a step below those guys.
I agree. This next guy is very interesting as well.
But he's better. He's a lot better than McCollum, still, in my opinion. No, maybe not.
Duncan Robinson.
Duncan's easy for me.
C.
No way. Duncan's a C.
What's he shooting from 3 this year?
Duncan's shooting like 50% from 3.
So you think he's better than C?
Yeah, he's a B.
Even though
Duncan Robinson's shooting 45% from 3.
Even though his defense.
His effective field goal. Ty, listen. His effective field goal percentage is 67%. 67.
Okay, that's incredible. But I'm just gonna make this statement. He is bad on defense.
He's a starter on one of the best teams in the NBA.
I'm fine with B. I'm fine with that. I'm just saying, you got to take into consideration that he's one of the best shooters the NBA has ever seen. I mean,
he is.
Say whatever you want about him. The shots he shoots aren't easy shots.
No, I was watching
off balance. It's ridiculous.
It's weird that we're talking about Duncan because I was watching the JJ Redick podcast last night. And it was an old one, but it was with Duncan Robinson and he was the guest. And he takes tough shots. It was interesting to hear what he had to say because he went from Division III level all the way to the NBA, and now it's a very, very solid NBA starter.
He is. I mean, and say what you want about the Heat, they got a good team. The Heat got a good team as well, Bill. I like the Heat, but yeah, Duncan Robinson. Yeah,
they have a lot of solid pieces. Fournier, is he next on your list? Yeah. He's been really, really good this season. I don't know if you paid attention to the Magic.
I haven't watched the Magic that much, so I really have no idea where to go with Evan Fournier.
He's been their best player, to be quite honest. He's been their best player.
Better than Vuce?
Or not? Excuse me, but except for Vucevic.
I was gonna say
he's been better than Aaron Gordon. Isaac's been hurt.
Are you going B with him then?
Yeah, he's B. His effective field goal percentage is 56.4, which is incredible. Gives you 19 on a nightly basis. He is just a scorer, but he's an efficient scorer.
Out of everybody on the list, I've watched the Magic the least. I do not watch the Magic at all.
I don't watch him at all.
So I have no idea.
I know he's been doing really well though.
I know you like. I don't know how you feel about Fred VanVleet, but I love the dude. I absolutely love
Fred VanVleet.
He's
A for me, no
question. A for me, no question.
He is A tier. He is
so good, man.
People will say, "Oh, Kyle, bro, he's just about as good as Kyle Lowry."
About as good. The thing is, though, do y'all remember what he did in the playoffs last year too?
Mm-hmm.
He's
smart. Like
his
IQ's off the charts too. Like that's got to be taken into account. He doesn't turn the ball over. He's a really good shooter. You put him on his own team too. I mean, because what you got? He's like. I mean, he's got to share the rock a lot. But he's on a similar level with CJ McCollum.
And he's just a different player than every other shooting guard we have. He is, because he's more of a playmaker. He can go get a bucket, don't get me wrong, but he plays a little bit of a different role.
Yeah, he does, because he's a point guard being grouped into the shooting guards because of him and Lowry together.
It's kind
of all these other guys are just shooting guards. I mean, you got Sexton down here, and Graham's into that same category, but
true.
Graham's basically a poor man's VanVleet, if we're being honest.
Yeah, to an extent.
Now this guy's interesting because he's been
He's
terrible
been
this year
awful this year. Like when I say awful this year, I mean
on the
awful.
offensive end. I mean, defensively, he's
But
always
he's
going to
still
give
good
you.
on defense. If we're talking about his career, he'd be higher, but he's been bad this year.
Yeah, he's been his numbers have dipped a little bit, but at the same time, I still think as a player he goes here.
See?
Would you say?
Where do you think he goes? C?
No, I think he's C. I think he's C.
'Cause right now I had him in
see him
D.
and Danny Green on a similar level.
And I get
This
him
year,
and Dan- Go ahead.
what?
Go ahead.
Or I was just gonna say, I think he's like a little bit of a step above Danny Green.
You say
I don't
above?
think he's enough of a step to put him in B, especially with how he's playing this season.
Yeah, that's the thing is he's playing. What's he shooting this season? Is it decent still?
It's okay. He's shooting from three. He's shooting 33.3%.
See,
From four, his career, he shoots 36.
And that's the thing. If you're gonna, and I bet Danny Green's shooting close to 40, if not 40%.
Yeah, he's
You
shooting
know,
pretty close to 40.
And that's
I
the
think.
thing. Gary Harris is a good defender, but if you're on an elite team, let's say in the playoffs he shoots 33%. That's a killer. That's a killer.
Definitely.
And so, I can't go any higher than C. I think he's this season closer to D than B this season because he's been not very good this season, to say the least. The B.
I don't think he's D though, because I think he's one of the more underrated defenders in the NBA.
Absolutely is. You're right on that.
And he's a heady player too. On a very there's a reason the Nuggets are good, and he's playing consistently, even
this
though.
is true.
And we know how deep the Nuggets are and how much talent they have. This next guy, without question, we know where he goes.
Yeah, I'm not even going to spend the time talking about him, but he's elite.
I think he's underrated. I think he's underrated for how good people are still talk about him. I still think he's underrated.
People would love to just bash Harden, but they don't just sit back and appreciate him. Like, if you take a moment, sit back and appreciate James Harden, he's unlike anything we've seen before, man.
He's unlike any player we've ever seen in the NBA.
It's crazy.
That's for sure. This next guy is pretty clear cut for me. And if he's not clear cut for you, I'm gonna be mad.
I mean, he's really not clear cut for me. I don't know. I know you don't like Jaylen Brown. For whatever reason, you don't like Jaylen Brown.
No, I do. I actually do.
Where do you have it? B?
I used to not, but I do now.
Do you have him in B?
No. B? No, that'd be disrespectful.
You have him in A?
He's an A, yes.
So
100%, man.
let me take a moment. Let me just take a moment. So you're telling me the Celtics have an A-tier point guard, an A-tier shooting guard, and we're let's say Jason Tatum, let's put him in A-tier.
Yeah.
That's elite company.
A-S. Yeah, it is.
That is
but here's
elite company. The Celtics better be competing for a championship this year.
Listen for a second, Ty. Listen to what I'm about to say, right? Because you're saying all this. But think about the Toronto Raptors. Because the Toronto Raptors are similar. Except you'd be like, oh, well, they're better. Yeah, but they also have a lot deeper bench. And all. I mean, think about the Norman Powells of the world. The Terrence Davises of the world.
I mean, I
they
get
have
what you're
Ibaka. They have
saying.
Gasol. They've even reached down even further. They have Chris Boucher or Boucher. I don't remember how to
say his name,
how to pronounce his name, but he's solid as well.
I mean, I get what you're saying.
And Boston's still deep, but they're not that deep.
I guess I get what you're saying, but I'm not a huge fan of Boston. I'll move him to A because I don't know enough about Jaylen Brown.
Listen, I'll give you some numbers. You ready?
20.4
points, 6.4 rebounds, 2.2 assists, 38% from three, effective field goal percentage of 56%.
Okay.
Decent a solid defender.
I know he was playing. Did he play good earlier in the season or late in the season? Because I remember he went on like a streak. I think he played good early in the season. I think he played good early in the season.
And I'm not exactly sure when it was.
He went on a streak, and everybody was like Jaylen Brown, and then he dipped a little bit. So he's been up and down this season, and that's something to note as well. But I'm fine with him in A, but I will say this. I think he's the worst A-tier player. That's my opinion that we have right now. I
disagree, but
you think he's better than
I respect your opinion. I think he's better than Van Fleet, at the very least.
I disagree.
But
all right,
but Van Fleet is a lot better player.
They're just different. They're different players. They're harder to compare.
But Brown's gonna give you more on the defensive end, so it's tough. This guy, this season has been pretty clear cut for me where he goes. Maybe it's not the same for you.
Mean, honestly, I don't even know. I mean, he's been I know the only thing I know about this guy is kind of where he's been at on, when we used to play daily fantasy. That's the only kind of place I know him. I haven't seen. I don't know.
He's been, I think C's right. He's not shooting the ball as well as I think a lot of Philly fans hoped, but he's still a decent scorer. I think he'll. I don't think he's been shooting a little under 33% this year. It looks like, but I think because people in Miami really like the guy. He's still a really good defender.
He's going to be a great defender, absolutely.
But I guess I haven't really watched a whole lot of Josh Richardson this year. I feel like I watched Philly decent amount, but I don't know.
Philly, yeah, they've had a lot their share of injuries too.
Oh yeah, he's been hurt, so that makes sense.
So
that makes sense. Why
this next guy we're gonna talk about is my favorite player on this list. My absolute favorite player on this list. One of the most underrated players in the entire league. It's not close for me. It's not even close.
You love to get in debates with it.
I love Drew Holiday, and hey. I'm gonna even grab my phone so I can pull up Drew Holiday's stats over the course of his career. Where do you have Drew Holiday?
I have him an A. I think he's a clear-cut A.
Okay, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you like Devin Booker a lot, right? Love Devin Booker.
Yeah.
How many points Devin Booker averaging?
Like 26. I think a little over 26.
Okay, how about the assists?
Like 6.
Okay, fair enough. Drew Holiday is averaging 20 points, 7 assists, and is a way better defender than Devin Booker.
Yeah.
And to prove my point, to go along with this, Drew Holiday is averaging over the last 3 seasons. This year it's up. He's shooting 36% from 3 this year, which is crazy. But over the last 3 seasons, he's shooting 34% from 3. He goes and gets you a bucket to averaging about 20 points and 7 assists. Or 6 assists. 7 assists over the past 3 seasons. So he's averaging 20 points, 7 assists, shooting 34% from 3, as well as being an absolutely incredible defender. What more do you want?
No, he's good. That's why I have him in A.
A? Who at A does what Drew Holiday does? Nobody.
He's his own player.
He's incredible.
Yeah, I know, but he's not S still.
How?
What do you mean? He's not S.
He's an all-defensive caliber player.
He is. So is Eric Bledsoe.
Oh my gosh, you can't compare Eric Bledsoe to Drew Holiday.
Listen. Oh yeah, he shoots these. You gotta realize the difficulty of shots Booker's taking compared to Holiday.
Drew Holiday takes some tough shots.
He does, but he doesn't take on a consistent basis. He's not taking as tough shots as Devin Booker.
I mean, I agree because Booker's a better scorer. But Drew Holiday is going to guard the opposing team's best player on a nightly basis. Their best guard, I should say.
But he's still A.
See, I disagree. If you're averaging 20 points per game, 7 assists, and a great defender, what more do you want out of a player?
Nothing. That's solid. That's a solid stat line. What do you mean? That's why he's A.
I disagree. Listen, I love Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is, I'm going to put him at A, but he is by far the best player at A. It's not close. It's not even close. Right. He's the best player at A.
Let's keep him in A, but I want to see people in the comments. I want to know what they would think Drew Holiday should be.
Drew Holiday is so good.
Do you actually think he's ass?
I watch him on a nightly basis.
Okay, let me say this, right? Let me just say this. I think any of these 3 players in S, if you would have combined them with Anthony Davis, I think that team's better than they were with Holiday.
Okay. To add on to that, would the Lakers be better with Drew Holiday or Devin Booker?
Probably Holiday.
Okay. So because of that, it depends on the team.
It does, but I still think on the majority of teams,
Okay. Let me ask you this: without D'Angelo Russell, would you rather have on the Timberwolves Drew Holiday or Devin Booker? I think it's close.
Devin Booker.
I think it's so close.
I think it's Devin Booker, clear cut.
Because do we need scoring? Absolutely, but every team needs defense. If Drew Holiday was on the Timberwolves, that would change the whole dynamic of the It would change everything. It
I mean,
would change
maybe.
everything. It would change everything.
Maybe.
You want to have. Look, I love Drew Holiday, but I lose. Okay, he's at A. Kevin Herter.
Why do I feel like I always get my way on these?
Because you probably know more than me. That's probably the case.
No, you have solid opinions about Holiday. I'm just saying. Wait, who are we on? Kevin Herter?
Kevin Herter.
How's he? I don't know how Herter's even doing this season. I know how Hunter and I know how all the other guards.
I don't know how he's doing either.
I haven't really
look
been
up
paying
his
attention
stats
to
real
Herter.
quick.
He's like doing decent. He's giving you 12 points, 38% from 3, 52 effective field goal.
I don't know.
Decent, but
Did you put him above Dylan Brooks?
I don't.
I was in between.
I have him
C
in
or
that
D.
same category.
You know,
I don't think he's not as good as the defenders as the guys
he's a
above
bad
him.
defender. He's
The same type of the 3 and D guys. But he's not as bad as Bruce Brown.
Yeah, Bruce Brown is terrible. Clay, healthy Clay. I mean,
Yeah, I guess it's Clay's tough because he hasn't played at all.
did you put him in S?
I have him in S still.
I mean, we'll see next year, I guess. But
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to spend a whole lot of time on Clay just because we don't have anything to judge him this season off
I mean,
of.
Malik's kind of a tough one too, right? He's tough because if you look what he's given the Timberwolves, I mean,
I think Malik's easy for me with where he's at right now.
who you got B? What do you got B?
No way. See.
C? But
I see just because we have a small sample size.
But
Because he was really good for Minnesota.
but that's
At the same time, you got to think
I mean, I get where you're
he
coming
wasn't-
from, but he
wasn't playing at all in Denver.
Efficient with you're right. I mean, and that's where Denver, played Gary Harris over Beasley. So you're right. It's hard to put him higher than that. But for the Timberwolves, he was elite.
Yeah, let me just throw out these numbers in his games in Minnesota. 14 games, 20.7 points, 5 rebounds, just 2 assists, but effective field goal percentage of 58% and 43%.
And that's what I'm saying. If you put him with those numbers, he's an A-tier player. He is.
Right,
but,
right.
it's a small sample size, so that's why.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with where he's at because, I mean, Sexton's giving you 20 and he's in C. LeVert's a lot more inefficient.
Yeah, it's
but,
just the inefficiency. And Malik's a lot better defender than Colin Sexton, but
yeah, Malik's not a great.
he's not a great
not
defender by
terrible
any means,
defender,
but he's an okay defender.
he falls somewhere in the middle.
Paul George, I got no question.
Me either.
S.
Paul George S.
Who is
Big
this?
time S.
RJ? Oh, good lord!
Bro,
What's he shooting?
RJ
What's
Barrett.
he shooting, man?
If we're talking about, here's the thing.
What's
If we're
his
talking
stats?
about this season, bro, I know exactly where I want to put RJ.
What is his stats, man?
You want to know his stats?
Yeah.
Because I was actually talking to someone about RJ Barrett the other day, and he's averaging 14.3 points, 5 rebounds, 2.6 assists, effective field goal percentage is 44.5%. He has negative win shares.
44%?
Yeah.
Effective?
He's shooting 40% from the field and 32% from 3 and 61.4% from the free
I'm
throw
not
line.
wasting any more time.
He's not a
He
good
is
defender.
F tier. He is F
He
tier.
is F
It's
tier.
not even close.
He is F tier.
Those are the worst stats I might have ever heard. 44% effective. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
It's not all his fault
It's not,
because
but come on.
the situation he was thrown into is off. I mean, the Knicks team has no spacing, and he's just I don't know, man. It's bad.
That's bad. Shea, I know you like Shea, don't you?
I love Shea.
I think he's.
I love Shea.
What's he averaging this year? Just off the top of your head. I want to say
he's
around
giving you like
15? 18.
I think he's giving you about 18 a night.
And he's a very good defender.
Let me look
isn't
it up though. Yeah.
Because say what you
Yeah,
want
he's a
about
good
Chris
defender.
Paul
He's
being
he's
great.
a fairly good playmaker.
Say what you
What?
want about Chris Paul being great. Shea's been incredible.
Now Shea's giving you 19.3 on a nightly basis.
How many assists?
51.4% effective field goal percentage, which isn't terrible.
How many assists?
It's decent.
Assists.
What'd you say?
What about assists?
He's giving you 3.3. A lot of that has to do with they have Chris Paul. so they
Yeah,
don't
I
have
know.
Paul.
I know.
But at the end, but still, Shea is more of a scoring guard than. But he's still. I mean, he played point guard at Kentucky.
You got him.
He doesn't turn the ball over very much.
You got him
He's
in
a great
A tier?
defender.
You got him in A.
I think he's a very similar player to Drew Holiday. So yeah, A.
Calm down, okay? calm down. Drew Holiday's averaging
He
20
is.
points, 7 assists, and a better defender. But okay, I get Shai's a good defender. Drew's better though. Okay. That comment just made me mad. Okay, Drew Holiday is so much better than Shai right now. It's
a little bit, but I'm just saying the only thing Holiday's better at is playmaking.
yeah, but that's Holiday's one of his biggest traits. I mean,
Yeah, but but tell me why Shai's on a playoff team then. Anyways,
I'm sorry the Pels had injuries the whole year.
this next guy for me is pretty clear cut as well. Tim Hardaway.
He's been solid this year, hasn't he?
Tim Hardaway has been solid, but he's been very, very good. He's shooting over 40% from three. Bro, when they've had injuries to Porzingis and then Luke, bro, there's nights where Hardaway goes out and gives him almost 30.
And I was looking the other night. I don't remember. They were playing. They were playing. Who were they playing? In one of the bubble scrimmages.
Oh, it was a scrimmage game.
It was a scrimmage game. It was on the bubble, and he was guarding one of the big guys. He was guarding Anthony Davis. Yes, I turned on the Dallas Mavericks, and I see Tim Hardaway guarding Anthony Davis, and I'm just thinking, what is going on right now? On every possession, and they would just post him up, but hey, he tried battling. Where do you got Tim? C?
I think he sees.
That's right.
I think it's a clear cut C.
I mean, we got
He's
a lot
solid.
of C tier players, but
Oh, this guy. This is going to be very interesting to see where we put him.
you know what?
Yes,
This
he's
is the
probably-
guy. This is the guy. I need to talk to you two for a second. This guy, people were telling me that this guy was better than Drew Holiday. There is no chance Victor Oladipo right now is better than Drew Holiday. There is a 0% chance. Go ahead, Nate.
Yeah, I agree. Right now, obviously.
Where do you have
And
him?
he's I don't even want to rank him, to be quite honest, but it's just we have I mean, what are we basing this off of? I mean, like, let's be real.
I'm being real here. If you were to head into the playoffs right now, as of now, would you take
Well, that's
Oladipo
different because
over any player A?
no way.
Okay,
I don't even know if I want to put him in B right
how about
now.
to start? Yeah, exactly. And people were
But
trying to
that's the
argue
thing.
that he's better than Drew Holiday. There's no chance.
But how healthy really is he? Like what?
But
don't really have
has he
statistics
ever been
to
healthy
base it.
after?
Well, he just came back. He's only played 13 games.
But how many? Wasn't he out? All of last year? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
No.
He's been hurt the
He got
last.
injured in the middle.
But
He
has he
hasn't
been
made
hurt the
middle
last?
of
Like,
last
all
season.
right, let me look this up. I mean, yeah, in the last 2 seasons combined, he's played 49 games. I mean, how are you gonna base a guy who's played 25% of his last games? It's tough. I mean,
Well, yeah, it's just because he had
I
suffered a
know
serious
I know
injury.
he's got hurt. I'm not
So
saying that.
that's why he's tough to rank, because we don't know how he's going to back fully yet.
I mean, I'm fine with B. I'm fine with C. I don't care. I mean, really, it's
But
tough.
I mean, if we're basing if we're taking right now, if we just say right now, I don't know if I'm taking over anyone in C. We're just going into the because we don't know how healthy he is.
I mean, we don't, but he could, turn it on, and obviously he has more
Yeah.
potential than anybody at C, probably. So,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't even. To be quite honest, do we really? I guess we should rank him. Do you want to rank him B or C? I'll leave it up to
I
you.
think B is fine for him because I don't think he's
Okay.
bad, but I'm just
Right, he's not bad.
the only reason
I mean,
I'm-
overall, he's going to be better than Duncan Robinson. I mean, it's just tough because
it's just
I don't know.
it's hard. I just got mad at Oladipo because people were trying to tell me he's better than Drew, and no. Wesley Matthews.
Bro, Wesley's been okay. Like he's so
It's just-
weird because he's like
He's on
for the amount of
Bucks,
minutes
man.
he plays. For the amount of minutes he plays, he has to have like the least amount of stats ever.
He
in
doesn't do
NBA
anything,
history.
but he's a decent defender.
He doesn't do anything, but he plays his role so well. Like he does exactly what he's supposed to.
I
But-
just don't know, man.
I
mean,
still-
I'm taking
I think
Danny.
I-
I think I'm taking
I
Danny
am
Green
too.
over him. I think I
I
gotta
am
go
too.
D.
I'm still putting him in D, and he's still like a decent player, but like he's just
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
he's more on the Bryn Forbes type level. He's a better defender than Forbes though, but not quite as good of a shooter.
Zach Levine, last player on our list. Pretty
This
clear
guy's-
cut for me. Pretty clear cut for me personally.
Do you realize Levine's You realize
know.
Levine's been one of the best offensive
I know
players
he's been
statistically
good.
in the league.
But yeah, because
But
he has a big time role with the Chicago Bulls. I mean,
yeah,
he's been one of the
been a
best
really
fantasy players in the league. He has.
he's been super efficient too, which is crazy to me.
He's just a really bad defender. And that's the thing I think
Yeah.
that, you know, Paul George and Clay will give you over Zach LaVine. You know,
He's still a step below down offensively compared to Booker and Beal, I think too.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is,
So he's definitely one of the better players in A tier though, without question. But I think he's A.
I still think Drew Holiday is better than Zach LaVine. But after that, Zach LaVine, yeah, he's better than like a CJ McCollum in my opinion. But
Yeah, I think he's better than McCollum too.
we do have a lot of
It's
C-tier players. If there was one C-tier player you would move up, who would it be? Devontae Graham?
I would say, man, that's a super tough question. I would say either Sexton or LeVert right now,
Really?
because LeVert's a good defender.
He is.
That kind of separates
just so
him. But
inefficient.
he's inefficient. But yeah, and then Malik is tough because we haven't seen him play much.
Yeah. I'm excited to see Malik play next year, but I mean, really, I think
this list is fine though because
I think it is.
it doesn't necessarily need to be balanced as long as there's like if you took the average of this, it would be somewhere between B and C. That's where it should be.
Yep. Probably.
You know, everything's
really
going to be a little bit different.
Yeah. But yeah, hey, guys, this is the final list. I think we're going to stick to this list. Nate and we have a lot of fun doing this, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Something a little bit off of 2K, but still basketball related. But yeah, hopefully I don't get flamed as much for this list as I did for the last list, you know, with Kemba Walker. I'm sorry. But yeah, I haven't watched the NBA just like you guys haven't in 2 or so months, so returns back, and I'm excited for it, man. I'm excited to see, you know, the regular games and then for the playoffs. So I'm super, super excited. Yo, Nate, you have any last words?
Yeah, I'd say drop a comment on who you think was the most disrespected in this list, or the guy that we got the most wrong, and where you think they belong.
Absolutely. Those are some comments I like reading. I like you guys flaming me for being wrong. I deserve it, right? If I do something wrong, I deserve to be flamed. Yo, shout out Kemba Walker. Hopefully you go crazy, man. But that is going to wrap it up for the video, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy it. Drop a like. Make sure to comment down below. I want to hear you guys' opinions, guys. Let me know if you guys want the small forward list. And guys, as always, I love y'all and have a blessed day.